Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Mandy. In today's video, I'm going to do a little bit of comparison between Chinese and English. But first of all, very important, this video is 100% my personal opinion just for your reference. It's not from the textbook or from like standard learning system stuff. It's just like the summary from my teaching experience. Because after years of teaching Chinese, I realized this might be the easy way to understand Chinese from an English perspective. So, if you want to learn Chinese in a proper way, standard way, then yeah, this video is not for you. But if you want to learn Chinese in an English way, then let's start this video. Hi, I'm right here. Now let's start to compare the English versus Chinese. Many years ago, when you just started to learn English, what were the first things you would learn? Yeah, that is English letters. We'll learn from A, B, C, D, E, F, right? There's 26 letters. Now let's get to Chinese. If you are going to learn to write Chinese, the very first thing you will learn would be Chinese stroke. And Chinese stroke, there will be 横竖撇捺点提折勾. Yeah, you might see Chinese character that looks so complicated. But believe it or not, all the Chinese characters, they are made of stroke like this. It just has different combination, like thousands of different combination to make the Chinese character. Simply put that, English letter is the element of English words. And the Chinese stroke is the element of Chinese character. Also, Chinese words. And you can pronounce the English letter like A, B, C, D. And as for the stroke, they also have their own name, like 横竖撇捺. See? And move on to the next part. In English, there is prefix and suffix. For example, like in English, the "un" it could mean not something. Like unhappy is not happy, uncomfortable is not comfortable, right? And there are re, like re is again, like restart and rewrite. And these are the prefix because they're at the beginning part of the words. And there are suffix like able, meaning capable of, like eatable, enjoyable, and the like which means someone, like doctor, trainer. So in English, the prefix and suffix, they could be at the beginning or the end of a word. In Chinese, we have Chinese radical. Let's see, what are radicals? Let me give you some very common example. The first one, look at this. These three little dots like this is the water radical, which means when you see this radical, you know this is something related to water. Okay, like this one, this is 海, and it means sea. There's a lot of water in the sea, right? And this one, this is 河, and 河 meaning river. Makes sense. And this one is 洗, which means wash. And this one's 泪, which means tears. Like when you're sad, you cry, you got tears. And this one is 酒. 酒 means wine. Makes sense? And we have a lot of other radicals. Like we have fire radical. This one's 烧 is burned. This one, 烟 is smoke. And this one, pow, is bomb. Yeah. And another very popular example, 女 is the female radical, like this one is mama, which means mom. And 姐姐, 姐, it means big sister. And this one is 妹. 妹 means small sister, little sister. And this one is 姨, which means aunt. And this one is 婆, which means grandma. See, all of these, they have the female radical, and they all related to female. Yeah, we do have a lot of radical. Some radical could have bad meanings, like the sickness radical. This one, 病, it means sick. This one, 痛, it means pain. This one, 疯, it means crazy. Yeah, crazy. And this one, 疤, it means scars. And this one, 瘦, it means skinny. Yeah, I know, skinny. But skinny, it doesn't mean the person's sick. But if someone's sick, it's very big chance they will got skinny, right? So for the Chinese radical, they could be at the left or right or top or bottom. Yeah, like the female radical right here, it's on the left. A lot of them are on the left, but this one, the 婆, is at the bottom. And like the sickness radical, it's right here. See? Moving on to the next one, we were talking about the element and the parts of the words. Now let's get to the words. In English, the word structure is pretty simple. It's always from the left to the right. Let me give you some example. The short word, hi. So you would write from the left to the right, hi. And longer, happy. You will write from the left to the right. Same, like beautiful, you will write from the left to the right. Even you are going to write the longest English word in the world, you are still writing from the left to the right. Pretty simple. And I did some research online. So usually, there's 1 to 15 letters in a word. Okay? And as for the Chinese word structure, things could be a bit complicated. So there are different types of word structure. This one, it could be single, because it's just one part. You cannot cut it in half. And it could be top, bottom, which means you can cut it in 2 halves, and one on the top and the other one at the bottom. And you can have left to right. And you can have half surround. And you can have fully surround. Okay, what does that mean? Yeah, let me show you some example. Like this one, this is the single structure, and you can't really cut it in half, right? Because every stroke is connecting to each other. Yeah, this is single. So this is single. And as for this one, you can see this is the top part, and this is the bottom part. You can literally cut it in half. And the left is right here, and the right is right here. Half here, and the other half here. Or here and here. It's half surround. And as for the fully surround, you'll see here is the inside part, and here is the outside part. So in simplified Chinese, usually there are 1 to 15 strokes. I mean, in simplified Chinese, if you are talking about traditional Chinese, there will be a lot more stroke. And now let's get to some words. And here are some English words. And the Chinese word, they look like this. Actually, here is the Chinese translation for this. Yeah, you is 你. Yeah, see? Here is just only one Chinese character. And good is just 好, pretty short. Happy would be 高兴. Morning, 早上. Supermarket, 超市. And psychology, 心理学. So you can see on this page, the English words could range from 3 letters to 11 letters. But for Chinese word, it just ranged from 1 Chinese character to 3 Chinese character. So yeah, most of the Chinese words are quite short. They only have 1 to 3 character. So Chinese character, we also say 汉字. Okay, now I can see the words. But if I'm going to use it, to speak it, then I need to know how to pronounce it. I need to know the sound. Now let's get to the sound. In English, you can just read the word out from the spelling. Like you just spell it out. You. Good. Happy. Morning. You just read out. But as for Chinese sound, simply put that, Chinese is evolved from the picture. So you kind of have to add the sound to that picture. Let me show you through some example. Like 你, just imagine 你 is a picture. You can't really read out the picture. So you have to add the sound to it. This is how you write the Chinese word. And this is how you read the Chinese word. This is the pinyin system. And actually, the pinyin system, the one you can see on this page, the one that look like English, and you can spell it out, this version, it's pretty young. We just had this modern pinyin since 1958. And before that, we have a different type of pronunciation marking system. And for foreigners who wants to start learning Chinese, the very first thing you will learn would be pinyin for sure, because you will need to learn how to pronounce the Chinese word. Now we have the words and the sound, and now it's time to make some sentences, because language is a tool. You have to use this tool to communicate, right? So, to make the sentence, you will need some grammar. And in English, actually, there's quite a lot of grammar. There's quite a lot of conjugation. I am at home. He is at home. She is at home. They are at home. Like for different people, you would use the different verbs. Yeah, it changed. So that is conjugation. But in Chinese, no, we don't have conjugation. Let me show you some example. I am at home. We say 我在家. So 我 is I, 在 is at, 家 is home. So that would be 我在家, I at home. And he is at home. 他 is he, 在家 at home. See, this word looks exactly like this one. The only different things, the only one is replacing I to he. 我 replace to 他. And like she is at home. 她在家, yeah, just she at home. See, they look the same. And they are at home. 他们. This 他们 is they. 在家. See, no conjugation. And there are more examples of conjugation, like when you talk about the past and the future, like I was at home, I will be at home, because you conjugate it, so you know, is it on the past or is it in the future? But in Chinese, no, we never conjugate any words, which means we never change any words. But if you're going to talk about the past and the future, we just add some time words in it. Like, you have to say 我 I 之前 is before, 在家 at home. See, we don't conjugate. We just put the time words in the sentence. So now I know that you're talking about the past or the future. And like this one, 我 I 明天 tomorrow, tomorrow, yeah. 我明天在家 I tomorrow at home. Yeah, I know. Grammar is not just about conjugation. It's also about how do you form a sentence, right? So in English, you might form a sentence like this. You will put the verb pretty upfront and tell the details later. And in English, there's also a lot of preposition like of, for, to, about, during. Like, there's a lot. In Chinese, we would put some details in the middle and then verb later. But it's not always like this. We would also put some details after the verb, and we call that complement. So there's many different types of complement. For example, complement of potential, if you would do it or not, and duration, how long, and quantity, how many, direction, like which direction you're going to, left, right, up, down, etc. So as for the grammar parts, actually there's quite different, but it's not that different. I think the grammar is easier than Hanzi. To learn Chinese character is much harder than Chinese grammar. And we're not going to talk a lot about grammar right here, otherwise this video will be way too long. Let's move on to the next part. When you get to a certain level, let's say advanced level, you will learn some more advanced expressions. There are some idiom or slang or poem. For example, I checked some English idiom and slang online. Like, these are the idiom and slang that's related to the rain. Yeah, actually there's quite a lot. But in Chinese, there's even more. These are some Chinese idioms related to the rain, and you will see a lot of them. They have 1, 2, 3, 4 characters, and we also call it 成语. Like 成语 is Chinese idiom. For native speaker, actually we use it quite often. We will learn about the idiom since primary school till high school. When it comes to the poem, I've checked some English poems online. Like this one, it's a poem written by William Shakespeare. I was born and raised in China, so I don't know what the school course is like overseas. Like, would you learn a lot of poem in school? And if yes, like what type of poem or which pieces are famous? But if you're talking about Chinese school, then I'm the expert. Because in Chinese school, we will learn a lot of Chinese ancient poems. There could be some short one like this, and there could be some long one like this. We will learn a lot of poems since primary school till high school, which is from 7 years old to 18 years old. And if you choose Chinese literature as your major in the university, then you will continue to learn some Chinese ancient literature. for 4 years. So you might be wondering, do you really use the Chinese ancient literature in your everyday life? Then my answer is yes. We do use Chinese ancient literature in our modern days, even though it's written 1,000 years ago, but we would still use some poem in everyday life and just to describe something. Like if you see a beautiful mountain with some smoke on it and some green trees, beautiful river, and suddenly there will be a poem just came up from your head, and you might use a poem to describe that view. And using poem in everyday life is not something that makes you look old. Nope, it just makes you look like someone who is well educated and poetic. And if you're interested in Chinese ancient literature, here's a book I would like to recommend to you. That is 300 Tang poem. It says Chinese. It says it's written in Chinese, but actually it's not. It's written in Chinese plus English. It's a translation book of Chinese ancient literature, and the translator is Xu Yuancheng. He is a super good translator, or let's say he is a super good translation master. So we've talked about the element, the words, the sentence grammar of English versus Chinese. Now let's talk about something less important but more artistic. That is script. So in English, there's different script, right? Like in English, you will see the same words can be written in different style. That's different script. And in Chinese, we also have different script. You see a list of words right here. They are the same words. They could look like this, or this, or this, or this. They could be in different script. So speaking of different script, there's another very important thing in the Chinese culture, that is calligraphy. So calligraphy is something very popular in China. We use brush or pen to write calligraphy. Actually, I'm a big fan of Chinese calligraphy. I'm practicing it by myself, and I practice the calligraphy that use brush. And actually, I have a lot of brush. These are my brush to practice Chinese calligraphy. And I'm not an expert of it, but I'm practicing it. I can show you some of my pieces, like this. So we will practice it in a very ancient way. We use a brush like this and with ink, and then you write from the top to the bottom, from the right to the left, like this. So you write from here to here. And here's some of my other pieces. Yeah. Anyway, so that's pretty much about today's video. I hope this little bit of comparison between Chinese and English could be helpful for you to understand Chinese better. And if you have any idea or thoughts about today's video, then feel free to share your thoughts in the comment section. And I'm Andy. I'll see you in the next video.